What is up, YouTube? This is Hyperion, you at Shop with the Cat, back again for another video. Now, I'm sure you may have noticed that everything looks and sounds a little bit different. Well, I was blessed this holiday season with a new camera and a new microphone, so hopefully my video quality will be upped a little bit. But that's not why you're here. No. You are here so you can see whatever content I have decided to grace you with this day. And given that my last video had to do with my top 5 most hated decks of 2015, I figured we'd start off the new year with something a little more positive, something to get us on a better mood. As such, I have decided to count down the opposite of this, my top 5 favorite decks of 2015. Now, similarly to my top 5 hated decks of 2015, this is going to work very much under the basis of not necessarily decks that were created in 2015, but decks that were prominent in 2015. So, similarly to my top 5 hated decks, things like Tellarknights were created in Duelist Alliance back in 2014. They were still prominent in the game, so they still count. So, things of that nature will still actually be in it. So, without any further ado, let's go ahead and get started with number 5. So, similarly to how my last deck started off with a prominent new Pendulum-based deck, this one will as well. Kind of the opposite of the DDDs. This time, I am starting off with the Pendulum Magicians, so the new structure deck that recently came out for us. Now, originally, I hated this deck just as much as I did the DDDs. Starting off in 2015 is one of the 2 decks I would always face on DevPro, and it just drove me insane having to fight against them. Just very, very annoying deck. Did not like facing off against it. It just drove me crazy. I knew this was going to be a deck I would hate. And then when it came out, I realized, since Red Eyes were also a prominent thing, and I love Red Eyes, that maybe there's some potential for some synergy here. It is a level 7 spam deck, and Red Eyes are level 7 dragons. I figured there was some real potential to make it work, and sure enough, I actually did combine the 2 into a similar deck, and it's been working out pretty nicely for me, to be honest. Which ironically leads me into... That's right. My number 4 favorite pick happens to be Red Eyes as well. Now, I realize that that's kind of an odd thing to do, but at the same time, I just really like Red Eyes. They were the basis of my original deck. Well, my original deck was a UV structure deck, but for the most part, it was my first deck was built to get out Red Eyes and Summon Skull so I could fuse them together into a Black Skull Dragon. So when the new Red Eyes stuff came out, I was all over that. Admittedly, I still have yet to get a Blackstone Legend, and given my new build with the Pendulum Magicians, probably will not be doing so, as you guys have seen. But it still works out nicely for me. I've always liked Red Eyes. For me, they've always been cooler than the Blue Eyes, even if they're not stronger than them in terms of just their base monster. But Red Eyes has never been supposed to be stronger. It's always been more about the potential that the Red Eyes have, as shown in the Yu-Gi-Oh! Movie with the kid who randomly got a Red Eyes card and then you used it against Kaiba. It was weird, but it had a good moral behind it. Sort of. Anyway, that's what I like about the Red Eyes monsters. Now anyway, move on to number 3. Number 3 on my list happens to be, again, another Pendulum deck. For me, Pendulum's been kind of hit and miss, just because some of them are stupid overpowered, like Cleese were and Magispectors are now, but then some of them are a little more fair and fun to use, kind of like the Pendulum Magicians, and like my number 3 slot, Ignites. Yes, I am actually a huge Ignite fan, and while I don't use them, I've messed around with them, and I thought they were a lot of fun. They have a neat little mechanic of blowing themselves up to go to the extra deck and then also search out another Ignite card or any level 4 Fire Warrior, cough Rose. But I don't know, to me it's more of what the Pendulums are supposed to be, where they build up a lot of resources and then just splash them all out at once, as opposed to... Well, I mean, I guess the way they do it is more how I'm okay with it, because Magispectors do that too, but Magispectors for me are just too powerful with the whole they can't be targeted or destroyed by card effects. And then Kleese just had that. It was towers that really did it for them. The deck otherwise was fine, but then you get to something like Ignites, which does still have its boss monsters, but they're not as absurdly broken. They don't destroy the game. They just they just play it. And for me, that's kind of why Ignites were kind of cool and why I enjoyed using them. That's all I gotta say on that one. Next step, number 2. Number 2 for me would be, you guessed it, Shaddolls. Now I realize that Shaddolls are kind of one of those you either like it or you hate it decks, and for me, I'm with the former. I just like Shaddolls, and not even because they're good or because they're meta, but rather because of the potential that they had. You never really see just a pure Shaddol deck. You always see it mixed in with something else. If you're meta, then you probably see it with like Light Sworns or Star Seraphs, but I chose to take a different route and actually just make purely inventive decks. One of my favorites being the STD deck that I showed earlier this year, where I combined Shaddolls with Trap Tricks in different dimension. I kept messing with the rounds, just mixing in different things, but I never went full meta. I always just chose to see the true gem inside, that it could be mixed with basically any archetype. Well, except Wind, really, because Wendigo sucks, but regardless, just the potential that they had for it was really amazing, and while I can't disagree with it completely, I was pretty upset when they banned Construct. I realize Construct's a broken card and pretty much defined the deck in itself, but I feel like taking it to 1 would have still been fine. But what's done is done, can't really argue with it anymore. We just lost the cards, so now all we can do is just move on. Shaddolls were fun while they lasted, unless they bring it back, in which case we'll see. But they are still not my favorite deck of 2015. That honor goes to... Yep. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't a big fan of giant monsters, and naturally, the best deck to encompass that is the Kaijus. The Kaijus are just such a fun deck, and even though they were released synonymously with Cosmos, Cosmos became the more proficient deck, the one that everyone used. But I still always liked the Kaijus more. To me, they were just more fun. Even when there were still only 3 cards for them, I still really enjoyed what they could bring to the table. Just the idea of setting up a giant monster battle and just having them fight. Plus, it's a unique way to get rid of your opponent's monsters. Truth be told, I struggled against Yang Zings for a while. Then I started messing around with Kaijus and found out that, oh, tributing them for the summon does not trigger their effects. I think I see potential here. Kaijus, truthfully, are just a hilariously amazing deck. Now, I personally do not like the Gradle Kaiju build, but it still kind of shows just how proficient these cards can be. It's amazing what they're capable of doing, and honestly, I'm just dumbfounded by how fun they are. For those of you guys who don't know, they've already announced the Kaiju things that are be coming out of Breakers of Shadow, or as it's become more commonly known, Breaker of Formats. And we have 3 new Kaiju cards, one of which is a spell that pretty much embodies what Kaijus were always meant to do, where it special summons 2 Kaijus from the deck to both player sides of the field, and then they have to fight if possible. I love that. That's literally encompassing the Godzilla element of the deck. That's just such a cool idea. It's not even necessarily that great competitively. I mean, it is for that particular card, but the Kaijus themselves aren't exactly what you consider meta. They're more a fun deck, and I just love to mess with them. So, yeah, Kaiju's easily my number 1 favorite deck of 2015. Probably going to be messing with them a lot come 2016, but we're still only beginning. The year is young. So that's my list. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Were these some cool archetypes? Did I happen to miss any really awesome archetypes that you guys liked? Let me know down in the comments below. Of course, don't forget to also like my page on Facebook, where you can let me know your opinions there as well. Like this video and subscribe to my channel for further content. Until next time, peace.